I mean, if someone is being unkind,
Yeah.
I do not have the power to change it, but I have the power to not feel diminished by it.
Exactly.
And that can only happen if I accept myself as I am and make peace with it. On some days, I like who I am and I feel good about the person I am. And on some days, I don't feel too good. I feel like the shortcomings are much more visible than maybe the good things that I embody.
Whereas the truth, if you ask anybody, is there's
Yeah.
always jokes about marriage and about the difficulty
Yeah.
of it and about getting used to it and getting over it
Messy.
and managing it, you know?
Yeah.
I think after a certain age, you very much realize that.
And I think it's okay to be in a situationship if that's what both people want. And I just learned that situationship is a word.
Hello everyone, I'm Rudrani and welcome to Speak Easy. My favorite people who make weddings happen are back. And again, they're trying to tell us matches are made in heaven. But are they? Of course, I'm talking about a very talented cast of Made in Heaven. So are matches though truly made in heaven or in apps?
Are matches made in heaven or in apps? That's a good question.
What do you
Wherever you can make them, I guess, on apps, on the streets, in disco clubs. I mean, where are matches made, Jim? At home?
Where do you
In
think?
a factory, and they put in a box, match
Factory.
box.
Sounds about right. That's
Right.
pretty much
Yeah,
how.
yeah. But anywhere, I guess.
Huh?
Uh,
Sorry, what do you think?
Where are matches made?
About if matches
Are
are
matches
actually made in heaven?
Mhm.
Nah. They're made here, you know?
They're made here.
They're made with,
With people and
yeah, with
feelings.
earth and dirt and air and water
All the elements.
and they work.
And the
you know?
Powerpuff Girls, of course.
Yeah. Powerpuff.
Chemical
Were you thinking
X.
Captain Planet though?
I know.
They have a good role in it. I think so.
The Powerpuff
Wonder Woman
Girls.
also in some time. I
Right,
think
of
so.
course. No, yeah.
Must be.
Do you know the song?
Now, here's my question to you, Shank. You know, there's so much that your character sees in season 1, 2, right? None of the characters are linear in any way. They're all messy in their own ways, right? And here's a scene in the trailer where you have this kind of an altercation conversation with Shivani where you're saying that, this is what it is. I feel like in today's world of situationships, I feel like this conversation is really important. I want to know what your take on that is.
Well, my take on that is, honestly, you're referring to mine and Jazz's argument.
Absolutely.
But, to know more about that, you'll have to watch the show.
Fair enough.
But a lot of us are going through that. And I think it's okay to be in a situationship if that's what both people want. And I just learned that situationship is a word. What is my take on it? My take on it is, यार जो तुम्हारा दिल करे तुम करो. अगर तुम्हें प्यार करना है हजारों साल के लिए तुम करो. अगर तुम्हें 2 रातों के लिए करना है दोनों agree करते हैं तो करो.
हजारों
Well
लोगों
said.
के साथ करो.
हजारों लोगों के साथ करिए. अगर तुम्हें शादियां करनी है तो हजारों करिए. No, just no, honestly. My take on it is, approach it from what you feel like and what's true to you. And love is a very fragile thing in this world, especially now where people are, being stopped from loving each other for various reasons. So, yeah.
When you're, actors, particularly because it is about, like you said, love, human emotions, right? The entire series is about that. Actors are often told and also asked about their process, and they said that, have you ever derived for a scene from what you felt? Have you ever done that?
I think all the time.
Did you do that?
अगर वो नहीं होता है तो मतलब खराब scene है. If you don't derive from what you feel, then it's probably not good acting. The better way to do it is to try and have an experience while the camera is rolling.
Fair
I
enough.
would suggest that.
I absolutely love your character, Sobhita. Because more the greater characters will be written about women, more they'll be real. And that's what I love about your character. You cannot say whether she's any category of good and bad. How much fun is that as an actor to play that? You get to play all shades, literally. And that's your character.
It's a joy. It's a joy. It's so much fun. It's so freeing. And it's comforting too. Because I am also a girl. And I can look at a woman who's good, bad, all things in the middle. And still be able to feel for her. It makes me feel like it's okay. And all women I know are like this.
Yeah.
So it's really wonderful.
The society in general, and even which is, of course, the wonderful part about the writing, which reflects society, is the way they look at women and how unforgiving they are for their mistakes, if any so. Which is for your character and a lot of characters that you've seen in season 1 as well, right? The entire the massive slut shaming that they that they face, the way they are looked at, and the judgment is so skewered at times. And I feel like that about also female actors, because I feel like they get a very different set of judgment on social media. I'm not saying the men don't get it, I'm just saying it's a way worse. How do you look at that? Because I feel like as an actor, when you get to sort of also do that in your character and you're facing that in real life, I feel like it's a very, interesting space. But how do you deal with that?
I mean, if someone is being unkind,
Yeah.
I do not have the power to change it, but I have the power to not feel diminished by it.
Exactly.
And that can only happen if I accept myself as I am and make peace with it. On some days, I like who I am and I feel good about the person I am. And on some days, I don't feel too good. I feel like the shortcomings are much more visible than maybe the good things that I embody.
Yeah.
And both days happen and they're both true, and that's okay. But somewhere I think my journey has been, somewhere I've been trying to not seek validation from the outside, both good and bad. That has been helpful. I'm not over it. Of course, I feel good when someone has a nice thing to say, and if someone is extremely critical, somewhere it to a small extent it does affect me, but I don't take it home. I've been, I think my experiences have taught me to be better than that. Life's short, man.
Yeah.
I'm just so fortunate that I get to do what I love and I get to be appreciated for it. Sometimes, I mean, I have a family that's alive. There's a lot to be grateful for. So on better days, I remember this. And on not so good days is, like Tara says, there's always whiskey. I guess for me, there's always coffee and chocolate and good company. I get by with a little help from my friends.
It almost felt like Tara saying it, right? Because your character is that relatable.
It's-
what you
she-
said
she
is so,
inspires
which is
me.
which was the question. The it is so relatable in that sense of it. I think that must have also been very interesting to play in Tara. She's such a real character.
Credit goes to the writers and their interest in wanting to put her in the forefront so that you have the chance to actually explore the many facets of what it means to be a woman in today's India, in a city, navigating all these gray areas and trying not to be reduced by any of them. I think it's great. What a blessing to be alive and doing a show like this. I'm just honestly very happy. So much to be feeling grateful about.
And we're delighted you're in it.
Thank you.
Jim, I think again in the trailer you see your that there are going to be fireworks there. You see Kalki and your character. There is, of course, there are altercations. You're going to have probably go through a messy divorce. There are those aspects that this time you will get into, which is obviously different from season one. Again, I think that is it's also really interesting because we like the show says, made in heaven. We look at marriages in that perspective as to how they are supposed to be perfect and you're supposed to be there throughout right till the end, which is what society has been telling us for eons. I think shows like this tell you that they are imperfect, and with through characters like this, how do you look at that journey and what I've said right now?
Well, I don't think that we have been told from eons that marriages are perfect. I think sometimes the way that they are represented in stories can be that. Whereas the truth, if you ask anybody, is there's
Yeah.
always jokes about marriage and about the difficulty
Yeah.
of it and about getting used to it and getting over it
Messy.
and managing it,
Yeah.
I don't think, I think after a certain age, you very much realize that. You can see, right? You have eyes. You can see people around you and family members and extended family and friends, parents, so it's okay. In the beginning, it's like he goes for the flashy, shiny thing, that he is drawn to in life in general. And then I think what gets embedded in their relationship is a secretary and boss setup, right? Which is what it was when they met.
Sure.
And I don't think he's ever able to quite take that piece out of it and see her fully for the human being that she is. Instead, he carries that around a little bit and maybe enjoys it a little bit. and as a consequence is simultaneously drawn to her, of course, for a variety of reasons. Maybe somewhere inside he knows that they're actually more similar than he thinks if he's able to take out this petty class politics away from it, you know, or just the way that they originally met. If he's able to take that piece out, that may happen, but he's not, and what happens as a consequence. You know, he seeks the familiar. He seeks what makes him feel childlike and comfortable.
And appreciated in his own sense. I feel like the characters that you're playing also, Sobhita, are so interesting. Whether, of course, you know, we had Night Manager, absolutely fantastic character there again. And then you have Made in Heaven, and there are so many more, I'm sure, in the past as well that you've played. I think what is also interesting is the way that most of these characters are given, not just given agency, I feel like they also, you know, are owning their sexuality. And I think this has been, now of course it's a different time, but women and their sexuality have been portrayed in such, you know, in such weird ways that that the others have made it uncomfortable. I think women have always been very forthcoming about it, but then there weren't enough characters, you know, just taking the decision without being put into any category. How do you look at that?
I mean, when women
Yeah.
are so find the right words and they will be simple. I think it's wonderful that characters being written by women allow for dimension.
Yeah.
Nobody is just one thing. No human being. No one. I'm sure even animals, like no one's like that. Even a tree is not just one thing. It changes by the season. So, so I think it's epic that characters are being given dimension, and I, for one, I am very thrilled to be able to play parts that are owning this, I guess. And through those parts, as a girl, I'm finding confidence too, and that's great.
As a girl?
Yeah.
Right.
As a woman, I'm finding confidence too, and that's great. So credit goes to the filmmakers, writers, and also the people who've made these parts happen. It's only because I'm sure parts like this, if they would have existed, but if they don't get the kind of, you know, mainstream attention or love, they don't become as discussed and as normalized. So I think credit goes to the changing societal perspective that's added to it. It's a two-sided thing.
Is it changing? Who knows? People often say that back in the 80s or the 70s, they say India was more progressive. Then they say then there's a loop where it stops. You know, it feels like it's cyclical in a weird way, or like a sine curve. But maybe it's flowing upwards, you know, maybe. I don't know.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. I mean, we can just keep
here.
trying. No, we can't give up though.
We can do our bits.
We can do our bit. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think all three of them sitting here are doing their bits. I would like to add that. I'll end it, of course, I know. I'm going to end it. I think I'll do a fun thing towards the end of it. So you tell me. You'll get to tell me which is, among all the characters that are there, and you can take anyone from season 2, you need to tell me who would be, if you had to take any 2 characters and make a match of them, and you would call them a match made in heaven, who would that be? Take any characters.
Weird, but I actually think Adil and Tara are a sexy power couple.
I don't mind.
Who don't?
I don't agree. I mean, I think it's true.
She's like, I don't mind.
I mean, I mean, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but money.
I like it.
Yeah, because it's just, because I feel like it's just such great drama because they're like mirrors to each other.
Fighting.
Yeah, it's like a
The passion is there for sure.
yeah, and a lot of like zeal, and there's just a lot of lots.
Yeah.
Good one. So match made in heaven for you.
Also, they're competitive, no? They're competitive.
I don't know about heaven, man, but it's an
something.
interesting.
Yeah.
A match.
A match.
A match. Okay. What about you? If you have to take any random character and put them together, who would you put and what do you think will work?
Random people and put them together.
Random from the show. Random characters.
Right.
Could be anybody. You all could pick your own character.
Vijay Raj and Mona Singh. You know, I can't wait. This
They
time.
are. a
They are.
couple, Papa.
Okay.
I'll tell you what the thing is. You can
Right,
take
right.
any character from the show in season 2. Any character.
I like how we're not going into the brides and all, you know.
Because we
We're being
can't,
very professional as the
contractually,
crew
yes.
of Made in
Yeah, but you all
Heaven.
are thinking
No,
like your
no.
characters. I'm saying you all can think like actors and see if, you know, you all were take a backseat. Who would you want to like have fun with and see Maybe you could have done
who
like.
would I want to have fun with?
I'm just putting. This is going in another direction, but you know what I mean.
Right. Abstract. Man. Jazz with her, but that, with her mechanic boyfriend, but that's already happened.
Adil and Karan.
Adil and Karan could have a secret affair. That would be very sexy.
I think that would be.
I think that would be very sexy.
Match made in heaven.
Yeah. Or Karan and Kabir could get it on, man.
Addicted.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
She's
very
rejected you.
you
She's
don't
like,
see
nah.
Disappointed.
You don't see it.
Yeah.
Jim, what do you think?
Kabir and Karan.
Kabir and Karan. you
No,
said.
Kabir and Meher.
Meher.
Meher. Yeah, both.
Kabir and Meher.
Kabir
Both
and
very like.
Yeah, maybe. What about you, Jim? Pick
I
one.
said.
Acha, that's his.
What did you say?
I
He
said
selected that.
What did I select? Yeah,
Karan and Adil.
Acha,
Secret.
Karnadil. Okay, Karnadil secret.
Yeah.
Super.
I think that's a good one actually. I think that would be interesting. What do you think, Shobhita? Because I want to say something and
I'm
stop
just thinking
yourself.
of Tara and Faiza living in a holiday home in Pondicherry.
Yeah, and with like just two single women like that.
Rocking chairs.
No, Tara and Jazz would be very interesting and annoying as well. It's like,
Yeah, I like that.
yeah,
it would be.
It's a chord.
It would be something.
Adam, you want? No, I'm just not.
But on that note, there you see.
Yes.
Just an exercise to let you know that the characters are so interesting and anything can happen pretty much. So thank you so much.
Thank
You all are
you.
wonderful and please keep doing what you are because you all are
Thank you
great.
for having us.
Thank you. so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.